Hello skaters, thank you so much for tuning in. In this video I am going to talk very specifically about technical things you can optimize as you're inline skating. I recently came across the GRASPOR device that I'm now using in my everyday training, but I also learned that I can use this to test different things, different techniques, different skating strategies. Because GRASPOR is a device that gives me live insight in my muscle oxygen. So long story short, it really just tells me how much of a strain is it for me to skate. So as I skate here in these tests that I'll do today, I just have the live muscle oxygen on my watch as well as on my phone after, which I'll share with you of course, so that I can see, let's say, different positions or different skating stroke cadences. How hard are they actually? And what I learned already is that what I feel is easy or what I feel is challenging is not always what is actually challenging for my muscles. One of them is the position. I generally think it's easier to skate in a lower position and at a slower step speed, because the more time you have for each stroke, well, the easier it actually feels because you have more time to control it and execute every stroke. Ideally, skating is just easier if you slow down a notch. I think we can, almost all of us, relate to that. Same goes for the position. The lower you sit, well, it's harder for the muscles, but you can extend your legs and you can grind through every push, which ultimately will allow you to generate a stronger push. Stronger pushes also come with a cost, and for me, that's what I've been able to measure with the GRASPOR device. So not just today, well, I mean, I base these tests that I'm doing here today on things that I've noticed as I'm training with the GRASPOR device. I do a lot of long skates, I do a lot of threshold sessions where I maintain a steady pace for a long duration of time. And during those periods of time, it's very easy for me to simply just play around with stuff. Should I take a few more steps every turn? Shouldn't I? And same for the position. Is this a great skating position or is this better? And like I said, it's not always what feels better that will make you a better skater. I think some of you, if you tried biking a lot, you can probably relate to the fact that a higher RPM or more strokes or rotations per minute as you're biking can feel more challenging. You may even see a higher heart rate. But if you look at the long term, a long effort, you will find that it's more muscular work to do a slower rotation pace, which is kind of the same from skating. So in the test I'm doing here today, that I'll share with you the results of course, the first one is where I test different positions. So I start out at a very low position, what according to most coaches, at times me included, the 90 degree knee bend here, where you can fit a fist here, is very textbook skating, and also what most of the coaches out there try and implement in the young skaters, and for good reason. It is, and it looks better to skate in that position, and if you're a sprinter, that is definitely what you should go for. On the other hand, if you're an endurance athlete looking to be more efficient, I realized with these tests and with your GRASPOR device that it's much easier to stand in a taller position. Obviously, if you stand almost straight legs, you can barely skate. So this is a very individual thing for you to find the ideal position. With the GRASPOR device, I can use the muscle oxygen so I can just gradually, in different intervals, try and play around there with the positions. So what I did here was divide it in 3 and then afterwards analyze the muscle oxygen that I have at my disposal in each of these positions. And I really came to realize that the tallest of all the positions I tested was the best one. And now if you're wondering, wouldn't that be less aerodynamic? Wouldn't you skate worse? Wouldn't you have to do more steps? Yes, all of those are correct and it does apply. However, I went out at 32 kilometers an hour for all these tests, mainly because that's where I feel aerobically comfortable, so I know I can play around with things without getting to a speed and an intensity that I can't keep forever. So that gave me some stable results that are very comparable. But at that pace that I maintained through the whole test, well, it wouldn't really matter if I changed up this technique if that was the speed I was going for. So for me, at 32 kilometers per hour, it was significantly easier, at least looking inside my muscles and seeing the actual relevant strain that at some point would limit me from continuing, that tall position, as you can see in the videos here, that was actually ideal for me in order to maintain that pace for longer. So that just goes to show that even though we should try and aim for that low position, we should have the strength and stability to be in that low position down here. Well, we should definitely also be able to skate technically well at a tall position, because it is more efficient in the long run for long distances. Then if we look at the step frequency and the cadency, it was more challenging. The differences are not as significant, but I found what I already figured was pretty close to where I'm comfortable. I found that to be ideal. But also this was a thing of playing around with it. I tried taking just a single more step in each turn, which made it slightly easier, especially when I was around my threshold, close to my half marathon pace. I did save some energy and I had more oxygen at my disposal in the legs, which allows me to go further or go a little faster. So that's another reason for you to try and test this on your own, because I do believe it's very individual and it's also very strongly linked to the habits that you generated and created through the previous X amounts of years that you've been skating. Like I said, you can test yourself with a heart rate monitor as well, but a lot of things are just unstable. A lot of variables that are a bit more random than using the muscle oxygen and the GRASPOR device. My heart rate, for instance, is way higher when I take more steps and when I stand in a taller position, even though it turns out to actually be easier for me to skate at that position. Therefore, I obviously recommend you to get a GRASPOR device. There's a link in the description below, also a little discount code, so you can read more about it. And then if you are hooked, get one yourself. I can only recommend it. I use it, well, on a daily basis, and then I use it to test myself. That's it for this video. Feel free to comment below if there's any other things you feel like I should test. I've looked into wheel sizes, where I also use the GRASPOR device, and into what different outfits you can wear in order to just go a little faster. I hope you found this to be useful, or at least entertaining, and I hope you want to subscribe to the channel and come back for the next video. See you around.